Hi, this is Fullerton Professional Organizing, and I'm doing things a little bit different because my phone is in the shop. So I am trying out Zoom for the very first time, which is also a great learning for me because I am going to be doing some interviews over Zoom anyway. So it's a great thing for me to start learning, especially since it's just me learning by, and then I can add a guest later. But what we're going to talk about today is another part of our ADHD and organizing for different personalities. But our last podcast, not our last podcast, but our last YouTube video was on clutter and organizing overwhelm. So we're just going to, since I didn't make a podcast on that, that's where I'm going to start today for the podcast. And then it'll just be a little review for you on YouTube. But the first thing our main topic we're going to get to is motivation. How to be motivated when you are struggling to get motivated to do a task, especially something that you don't want to do at all. But the first thing you ask yourself when you come into a space that you're very overwhelmed with is, the first question is, what do you need or what do you want? Like in this space here, this is my podcast, video, and my craft room. So in this space, I need it to stay nice and neat because it's going to be on video. I also need it to work so that I can use my, I have a heat press, and I also have a silhouette cutting machine in here, and I need to be able to access that, as well as you can see, I have this on a Lazy Susan so that I can reach it from my desk. So everything has to be, and I have to have great lighting. So these are a lot of requirements for this space, and it's a small room. So I have to keep it neat so that I can move around and access everything. So everything needs a permanent home. I know we say that a lot, and we're probably going to keep saying that. If it has a place, what causes you to not put it back where it goes? I got this from a popular YouTuber that does organizing, and she says it's got to be just as easy to put away as it is to leave it out. So keep that in mind. Now, and we talked about the different types of clutter. There's the clutter, in use clutter. That's stuff that we're using right now, projects that you may be working on that you've left out. But then there's also the clutter for things that do not have a home. And then there is that everyone hates clutter, and that is the paper clutter. The paper clutter, I feel paper clutter is really the hardest because you don't always know where to put it. And a lot of people are going paperless, and some of us are in that transition. What should we go paperless for? Will we find it again? How do we organize the paper clutter if we're not going paperless or we're not going digital? There's so many different things to keep in mind. So we covered some of that in the last YouTube video. And let me see if I can go over some of that really quick. If you want to know a little more about, clutter in use and clutter in that has no home, we will cover that in another video, because on YouTube you can catch that. But where we're going to start is we're going to review a little bit about what to do with the paper clutter. Most of it's already in a pile, but you want to set it in categories: to do, recycle, file, shred, trash, and quarantine. Quarantine are the papers that you just don't know what to do with. Do I need to get rid of it? Do I need to keep it? Clutter. And then we talked about filing, using a color code, having all your finances in one or two folders. One folder, just all of the financials in one folder, and you can have that filed by month. That way you can find it easily. Bills, you can have two folders, a 1 through the 15th pay folder, a 16th through the 31st, and then of course labeling everything. But that is on that video. This is just a recap, and we can talk about that again some other time. But also what's a big thing is when you are overwhelmed and you are trying to tackle a task, whether it's at home or at work or in your office for work, because now we work from home office, no matter what the task is for, personal or for work, there are always going to be distractions. And that is another thing that we have not yet talked about, is distractions. It's a big challenge. And what you may have to do for a certain amount of time, depending on the task, is you may have to route your calls to voicemail, then check it only at set times during the day. Ask for, if you work in a place where there's a lot of people, and ask for a quiet cubicle or an office at work so you aren't distracted by others. But there's also those noise canceling headphones that can keep out noises around you. And plus, people see you with headphones and they pretty much know not to bother you unless it's important. So, or you can use a white noise machine, or listen to, use the noise canceling headphones to drown out other sounds at work. Stick to do just one task at a time. Make sure you're just doing one task at a time. Now we're going to talk a little bit about, now, in these notes, what we didn't cover was motivation, how to stay on task. So since that's the theme of this podcast today, then we're going to tackle that in just a moment. That is what we're going to now. Now, motivation. Dopamine is a type of neurotransmitter. Your body makes it, and your nervous system uses it to send messages between your nerve cells. That's why sometimes it's called a chemical messenger. Dopamine plays a role in how we feel pleasure. No one knows exactly what causes a person to have ADHD, but some researchers have looked at a neurotransmitter called dopamine as a possible contributor to ADHD. Dopamine allows us to regulate emotional responses and take action to achieve, and yes, I do have notes because it is easier to stay on track, and it does cut out all the ums and uhs a little bit. I still have a few of those. But the call responses and take action to achieve specific rewards. It's responsible for feelings of pleasure and reward. Now, we're going to start with when you have struggled to get motivated, you just have to start small. What will help you start the task? For some of us, we need to be very deliberate, and we really need to think about this more than the average person. Define a task in specific terms with the time of day and place it will be done. Think about the overall task. Where do you start? Think about the task and the deadline. Is there something before that? And what I mean is, do you need to gather the supplies needed first? If the task seems a little daunting to start somewhere before the task, like gathering the supplies. What happens before that? Maybe you need to sit down and divide it out into small tasks, divide it into daily tasks if you have enough time. Maybe all you have to do to get started is turn on the computer or read the instructions, or just open the drawer, wash your face, get dressed. You know, there are tasks before the tasks. Maybe I've heard a podcaster say that so that they are energized for a podcast, they jump up and down before they start a podcast so that it gets them all pumped up and energized. I probably should do that more, but that's just an example of some ways to get started with a task when you don't feel motivated. When you're having trouble starting a project, try this. Set a timer for 15 minutes. For those 15 minutes, focus on that one task only. When the time is up, decide if you can keep going for another 15 minutes, or if you can reset, and if you can reset that timer, keep going at 15-minute intervals as long as you can. If you can't do any more, just stop and try again later or the next day. Here's another thing that goes with what I was saying before. What is it that needs to be done before you start? Maybe you need to brain dump, make a to-do list, make a check-off list. Maybe that will get you started on a project. Out of all the small tasks, make a check-off list that will keep you motivated. Example, add in breaks and rewards to the checklist. Create rewards. Celebrate your small successes. Make a list of 10 things you enjoy and refer to it when you are feeling unmotivated. Now, I'm working from home. Organizing is now my full-time job, so I don't really have a boss looking over my shoulder, but I know that I have to stay on task because I have a lot I need to get done. And then when I do have a client, which I have a client tomorrow, I need to be able to keep my podcast going and my YouTube going. I need to keep my everything going. So when I do have a client, or if my phone has to go into the shop, I figure out a way to keep my schedule going. But we were talking about motivation. In my office, sometimes I will have read so many articles. I have typed out so many podcasts, and I've done so much for my business. Every once in a while, I will stop and do a quick craft project. And that is a reward. And it's also a small break. But you got to make sure your breaks are things that are quick, that are going to get you back on task. Now, if you have a boss that you know isn't going to like you doing a craft project, that was just an example. There are certain things you can do. Maybe go to the break room and have a snack, or go to the break room and have a cup of coffee, or maybe just walk around and then come back, or listen to just one song in your headphones and then get back to work. Whatever it is that you can do without getting in trouble at work. But at home, if it's a task that you have at home, that it's like organizing your desk or organizing your bathroom or cleaning your kitchen, something like that, your rewards can go with you. You can tell yourself, I never have time for this podcast. I never have time for listening to music. I never have time. Whatever you don't have time for, now's the time to do it while you're cleaning your kitchen. You can put on a podcast and listen to it, put on some dance music, do some dancing while you're cleaning. But only you know what rewards will work for you. Now, what do you love that you do not have time to enjoy? Music, YouTube, podcast, TV show, a quick craft, etc. Work quick rewards into your tasks, between tasks, as small breaks, or during boring tasks, for sure. Treat yourself to a new fruit, bakery item. Got to keep those food items, though, healthier and less frequent, because we've got to watch our figure. Buy yourself a bouquet of flowers or your favorite beverage. Relaxation stations are good too. Adult coloring books or fidgets, you can have those at your desk without getting in trouble. Well, maybe not the adult coloring book, but maybe a fidget at your desk. You don't want to get in trouble at work, but there are some allowances when you have ADHD. And all of the things that we're talking about will work and are helpful even if you do not have ADHD. Now, we already talked about a timer, but here's something that I didn't mention when using a timer. Use a timer to stay on task. It is real easy to lose track of time. For the 15 to 30 minute task, or however amount of minutes that you are able to get things done with, even for your breaks, you need to set a timer. For a 5-minute reward break, we can lose track of time, and then our break winds up being 5 hours, and then we didn't get anything done because we got so involved in our little reward that we lost track of time. Now, also, what is your why? That will help you with your motivation as well. What is your why? Consider why a particular task is important to you. Think about how your future self will feel when it's done. For me, the reason I love helping people organize, and the reason is because when I get home from helping someone, I know that I actually helped someone. I genuinely know that whatever I did was helpful for them, and that gives me great satisfaction. So I don't struggle with my professional organizing because I do enjoy the satisfaction I get. But it may not be that way for you in your own space. So think about your future self and how it will feel when it is done. What outcome would you like to see? Visualize the outcome. And maybe again, remember when we talked about what's before to get you started and to get you motivated? Sometime a vision board for the task is also important. For women well, for people in business, they usually tell them to do a vision board so that they can see where they want their business to go, and it keeps them on task. Well, it's the same for organizing a space that you, or doing a boring task. Visualize, make a visual board of what the outcome will be. Now, again, you have to make sure you watch out for your time. Make a time, set your timer for just 5 minutes to visualize, what you want that outcome to be. You don't look forward to doing the laundry, but you like the smell of the fabric softener. For me, I don't particularly like washing dishes, but one day I accidentally bought some liquid, dish liquid, and it had such a beautiful smell. I remember telling my husband, oh my goodness, I don't mind doing the dishes with this smell. This is a heavenly smell. It makes me want to do the dishes more, which is kind of weird. But sometimes it could be just a scent or a fragrance that will energize you to get something done. Some people use essential oils in the mornings just to wake them up. A peppermint or a eucalyptus or a lemon scent, any of those scents that will wake you up in the morning. For me, coffee is also a good motivator, just the smell alone, and then of course the caffeine. But what do you visualize? A cleaner home, clean sink, clean toilet. Be able to find things. Maybe that's your motivation, just to be able to find things. Know where everything goes, where to put it back, find your keys, find the remote. Shopping late at night, when there are fewer people, might also be a motivation. If it's the groceries that you struggle with, going grocery shopping, you may have to find a time of day that shopping is easier or more fun. So let me start that again. Shopping late at night, when there are fewer people, minimizes the agony of waiting in line. All right, maybe it's having a tidier home, organized drawers, organized food storage containers. Maybe you just like everything in one color. Maybe, having everything in a bright color. Less embarrassed to invite guests or drop-in guests. Get schoolwork finished on time, turned in on time. Maybe it's better grades. Create urgency sometimes works for those that have ADHD. You can create your own deadlines. Create urgency with deadlines. That timer. Having an accountability partner at work or at school may help. Or at the gym, just like at the gym, when you don't want to work out, but you have to meet a friend at the gym every day, or after the gym with your friend every day, you go have a cup of coffee. Those are all your rewards and motivation. Invite guests over to your home on a regular basis may motivate you to clean your house every week for Bible study, or you have to clean your house every week for this guest, for a friend to come over for coffee. Now, and we're not talking about perfection. We're just talking about things that motivate you to progress and do better and to get it done. For me, it was Bible study. I would have a weekly Bible study and I knew my house had to be clean or I'd be embarrassed. Create a new approach for the task. New place to do schoolwork, a new ways of doing a task easier. That's something I like to do too. When I'm doing something and it's tedious and boring, sometimes I find a better way to do things so that it is faster. Faster, better, create fun ways to do the things, make it personal. Find out why it may be interesting. Create curiosity if possible. Remember appointments. Maybe that's, you want to remember appointments, lunch dates, business meetings. You want to be on time for work, or your business finances, taxes, making that simpler, or staying on budget. When do you have the most energy? Sometimes you just need to work around your energy level. Are you a morning person? Are you a night owl? My husband's a night owl. I don't know if I'm a morning person or not, but I know that I have to go to bed early if I have to get up early. I have to have enough sleep. But my husband can stay up all night and still get up the next morning. I have to wash my face to wake up in the morning. So that's the first thing I do in the morning. But after you wash your face, maybe you need to get dressed to be motivated. After breakfast, maybe, or after coffee. Maybe you're most energized after a walk or a nap, and it may not even be a long walk. It could just be a walk around down the hall in your home. It could be a walk around the block or around the office or around to the break room and back. And then again, since we talked about it before, turn off distractions if possible. If you're at home or your home office, make it to where you're facing away from the TV, or those noise canceling headphones. Make sure you don't check your emails or phone calls until later. Okay, now teamwork if possible. This is another way for your motivation. Teamwork at home. Include the whole family in the most dreaded task. If you're trying to get the whole house organized or the garage organized, hey, delegate, have everybody help. School study groups are good at staying, but pick friends for your study group that are straight A students, because they tend to stay on task. Now, if everybody's, if you choose a group of friends and they like to goof off, that's probably not most helpful study group. And at work, delegate. If you have people under you, delegate. But if you have friends at work that you can, it depends on your job, but you may be able to do things teamwork if possible. And back to the grocery shopping again, maybe you hate grocery shopping, but going with a friend would be fun if you get to spend some time socializing. Maybe that is a great motivation. Now, here are some things. This is all the end of my podcast, but and YouTube video, but here are some apps that people have used to stay on task. Now, I don't know a lot about these, so I'm just going to list them. There's things that you can look into. The best overall, from what this article says, the best overall app is Rescue Time. But now I'm going to read the rest of these. For grown-ups, Asana is good. For college students, Todoist, Todoist is a good app. Best for teens is Off Time. Best for kids is Headspace. Best for focused is Focus, and then that @ sign, Will. Focus at Will. Best for, I don't know what this is, but Pomodoro, Pomodor. Best for staying organized, Trello. I've heard that one a lot from organizers also, and those that have a business and they have employees under them. Best for filing all things digital, Evernote. Best for managing emails, Clean Email. Best for managing money is Mint. Best for teaching kids and teens how to manage money is Rooster Money. And now I'm going to end by saying, tweak your plan if it did not work. What I do is I revisit, and if I have organized my bathroom or my kitchen, any area in my home that I have organized, if in a year it's a mess again and I wasn't able to keep it organized, then I decide what worked, what didn't work, and I change it. You're always going to have to change things and figure out what works. Tweak your plan if it did not work. Be kind to yourself, though. If you simply did not use your plan, each time is a chance to learn and grow. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that all of my information is super duper helpful to you. You can always find me on all social media by Fullerton Professional Organizing. On Instagram, it is Fullerton Pro Organizing. And I will see you on the next video and podcast. I appreciate you. Oh, and I do want, share this with your friends and family. Please share this, because these things I think are very, very helpful. And share my YouTube, share my podcast, so we can reach a broader audience. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.